We are live. Good morning, good
Hello,
afternoon,
hello.
or good evening. Today I'm with artist Julie Rothel, with your host, Mac McGregor. Good morning.
Hello.
Today I'm with artist Julie Rothel.
We've got an echo.
Hey, I forgot to do this morning. Okay, let's do that. So where were we? Who is Julie Rothel?
Well, just three times, just to be sure.
Just in case you haven't noticed, I'm with Julie Rothel. Okay, Julie is an intuitive, sensitive artist, specializing in encaustic painting, which involves painting with hot, molten wax. She is fascinated with light, depth, and versatility of encaustic, which creates endless possibilities for her as an artist and keeps her work exciting and fresh. Oh, that sounds very juicy. So, Julie, what are you working on at the moment?
Well, I've recently moved house, so my current workings on at the moment are, a lot of it is in my head. We moved from Hertfordshire to Cornwall at the end of August. We kind of go back and forth, so I haven't got a permanent space set up as yet, but I have. I did a commission for a lady a couple of weeks ago, which kind of got me. It'd been on the in the pipeline for ages, and that's kind of got me like really back into like, right, I'm itching to get going again now. So and I've been doing a lot of photography, so taking pictures that I am planning to incorporate into my work. So that's going to be my next collection that I release. I'm going to, so I've got the names in my head, but it's been an awful lot of head work and thinking about things, just because I haven't had the physical time or the space with moving to actually produce it. But it's all there, it's all kind of cooking along. And,
Exactly. Yeah. I understand completely about head work.
Oh yes, you do. Yeah, of course. For different reasons to me, I appreciate. But
well, I carry on with that. I do a lot of working out in my head.
Yeah, totally.
And that you're still working, even though you plan on not.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned photography. That sounds really interesting. Can you give me an example of one photograph that you're taking, and perhaps give us a little tasters of what you might create with that one photograph?
Giving you all my dark secrets of my next collection if I go too deep into
this. Just a taste, because I know it's your next collection.
Yeah, no, I love, well, obviously having just moved to Cornwall, just the landscape around here and the light is so different to Hertfordshire, but also so there will be definitely a lot of coastal scenes that I'll be using within photo encaustic. But the other thing that I am currently trying to capture is I love the light. Being in Hertfordshire, there's so much, town light, like street lights, and being down here, it's so dark, so you get such a different view of the night sky. So I'm kind of looking at capturing a few nighttime scenes and incorporating that into my wax practice as well.
I wonder how you managed to do that. Oh, sounds very nice. So when did this initial idea, you said that you were aware of the night sky and the change of your environment from Hertfordshire to where you are now. So what kind of sparked that idea? When did that initial idea happen? Do you remember?
It's just driving around, and you're driving at night time and there's a full moon, or you're just in the garden, or just go to the beach, and you just get if you capture the scene at the right time, then it's just like stunning. And wax is great because depending on which style you're painting in, you can kind of layer and you can kind of have hidden aspects and full, fully seen aspects. So there are a lot of things that you can then kind of, so you've got the actual image, which already looks amazing, or, in my mind, I can see how it's going to go. But from there, I can then layer and kind of have hidden aspects and, pull some bits forward, some back. But once I've seen it, I'm like, oh, I can just see it in my mind. And I can see, I've got an image in my head now, and we were just driving around. It's like, I need that on a board. And yeah. So I very much tend to respond to something. So when I've seen something and it's like, that's what I want to do. And that's, I can feel it on sort of driving to come out.
Fantastic. So it sounds like because you've been doing this transitioning from your previous home to your new home and traveling back and forward, you have been constantly aware of the changes in the skies and the environment, and in your new place, new experiences, and somehow those have kind of sparked the ideas for your current project. That's what it's like.
There's almost like a coming home thing. So I grew up down here, so it's like a bit of a coming home thing as well. So it's like this kind of deep, it's like coming home. So yeah.
Oh, that sounds very grounding. Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you've taken photographs this time. Is this your normal way of researching or doing any preparatory work for your artworks?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, I mean, I do sketching, and sketches are just in my diary or my journal or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't show anybody my iCloud photo library. I mean, I don't know how many tens of thousands of photos there are. I mean, I'm always taking photos of things, and yeah, whether it's a pattern and a door that takes just something, the most random things. And although they don't necessarily come into a finished picture, I always take inspiration from those. See me doing this on my phone, all sorts of random. Yeah, I have a very eclectic mix of photos on my phone. But yeah, it's just something. I'll just tune into something, and it's just enough to kind of spark an idea, and it might kind of come out in quite an abstract way to what I've actually visually seen. But yeah, it's definitely a starting point for a lot of my work.
And it sounds like it's sort of a collection of a visual library of possibilities that you can tap into.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But also I get a connection and like a feeling with those images as well. So it's almost like I don't know if there's like a feeling connection of how I felt when I took the picture, or it's just something about the texture that's just like,
there's something about it. It just speaks to you.
Speaks to me, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it speaks to you. So what other areas of preparatory work do you normally make before you create a piece of work?
Probably the only other thing I would do, I mean, I'm very intuitive with the way I work, so I hate sketching things out and doing preparation and test pieces, and then I just like to launch straight into it. But I guess probably the only thing would be just making sure that I'm in the right frame of mind to create a piece of work. So I can't go into it. I've learned over the years that for them to kind of flow and come through, I've got to be in quite a relaxed state. And if I kind of go in, I'm like, 1 hour to create this piece, and it just doesn't happen. Or when I try to do it, it doesn't happen. So I have to be quite quite sort of chilled and zen. And once I'm in the right frame of mind, and when I'm in that state where I can see it, I know what's to come through, and then I go and do it. And so I guess that would be possibly classed as preparatory. So what the word was, sorry. Lost my train of thought.
There's a million ways to preparing.
Yeah,
absolutely. For each artist, it's different, and it can be combinations of different things, as you've described. So how do you get yourself into this Zen state of mind?
I don't think I'm just literally as simple as going for a walk. Going for a walk. I mean, there was a particular piece I did actually the last time I was down in Cornwall. It was last year now, not last time. Timescales have just merged into one another. But we'd gone for a walk. We were around on the cliffs, and then we'd landed in this church, and it was just so. And the beautiful thing down here is often churches are open. So up with us, they're always locked. You can't go in. So just went in and just but instantly you're hit with that smell, the texture, the light, the stained glass. And although none of it came through, it was all very abstract, but it was just definitely that sense. And I got into that sense of, and that's where the artwork kind of came out from. But it's taking that sense and that feeling, and then painting that into a piece.
So when it came to the churches, it sounds like it's the atmosphere that you wanted to capture.
Yeah, and it could be sitting on a beach, it could be going for a walk in the woods, it could be, just I don't know, I find that I need to, just kind of get into. But then sometimes it can just be scribbling on a piece of paper, and then like once I've kind of got that, it's like going from your day. We all get very busy and caught up in the day to day. I think as long as I've transitioned from that, oh my goodness, got to get the children to school or whatever it might have been that morning, to okay, right now, so just something, a switch, and it could be a combination of any number of things. But
sort of a transition period that could be a variety of different things that helps you to get into a relaxed, into your own body.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, so this is for a past work. If you could think of a past work, and you thought of a past work?
I've had many past works.
I know. choose one, lass.
Okay.
Once you could remember the process of making.
Okay.
So can you describe what your decision making process was in that piece?
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, there are application techniques that I always start off with as a base. So there's always a general sort of starting point for all of my pieces that I tend to kick off with. But from there, it's very much intuitive. I'm rummaging through my my waxes and paints, and I'm very much drawn to, and often I'll get to a bit of a stop point, and I'll just see something, and that's the color I needed, and it's I always find it really difficult when people ask me exactly how I did it and how I came about it, because it is very often quite so intuitive. But it's very much sort of drawn to that piece, but I just get so drawn into it that it kind of all thought goes out of the window. It is just a flow, and it just kind of happens, and I'll be rummaging through. And
so your decision making process is trusting in your intuition?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And I just, again, it's that responding. I'll see something and I know if it's right or I know if it's not right, and I'll just look at it and it's like, yeah, that's really not right. Oh, that's what I needed. And it might be that I need to walk away for a few minutes and then come back, and it's like, and then it becomes apparent. Or I might just kind of walk across the room and see something that's been laying in a drawer for weeks, years, or months, and that's the perfect thing for that piece. Just that thing just tends to come into my radar at the right time.
And it sounds as if you are very good at allowing these things to come in.
Yeah, getting better at it. It's a learning. It's an exit, but also it's it's a learning thing, isn't it? It's not. Yeah, learning exercise. But yeah.
It is. It's an amazing process. So, your favorite artwork by another artist?
Oh, there could be, I guess, so many that I could do. I think I have to go for that one. It's got to be Jasper Johns. He has a painting called Flag. It's an American encaustic painter. So maybe I should have skipped over at the start. So I paint with hot wax, which is called encaustic wax painting, and a lot of people have never ever heard of it. But I think he's got the record. I'm pretty sure he's got the record for the most expensive painting ever sold by a living artist. £110 million for his painting Flag.
Oh, just that much?
Just that much. So yeah, it's got to be that. Just one, because it's an encaustic piece. Two, because of that record, but also the texture in it, and it is just the texture, and again, it's got that feeling. It's got the layers, the depth to it. So yeah. that would
That
probably
sounds really interesting, because I don't think I've seen that work. And I wonder if you could give me a link so that I and other people, if it
I
interests you,
can
have a
absolutely
look
do
at
that.
how encaustic could be presented or used in an artwork.
Absolutely.
So you've explained why that was as well. When you're creating a piece of work, you've described your process, but what are you feeling inside when you're creating?
Oh, it's just a pure space of calm, I think, and it's just pure calm. It's just lovely, and it's, you know, time. I don't know whether 5 minutes has passed or 5 hours have passed. You know, when I'm in that zone. And when I run workshops, the same thing. Actually, you kind of look up and people just can't believe where the time has gone. It's that same feeling, and there's this. It's almost like the whole place just goes quiet and hush, and it's just you've got just lost all concept of time, and you're just in this delicious place of creativity, and I've just find it really calming, really, and uplifting as well. It's you kind of look back and excited. I don't know. It's just a whole mix of feelings, I suppose, but calm would definitely be
It sounds like you just get into the flow, and
I just lose myself completely,
yes.
and it doesn't matter if I'm what it is that I'm doing. Just totally lose myself, and suddenly pop up somewhere a few hours later.
Oh,
Oh, is that the time? Oh,
yes. Usually have, oh God, I need to go to the toilet. Or, oh God, I'm really hungry.
Yes, normally forgotten to eat.
Okay. So when you're creating a piece of work, have you ever been undecided to what you're going to do next, like when you're in the middle of a piece?
All the time. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you do to get to that next step?
Normally walk away and leave it for a while. Might be 5 minutes to make a cup of tea, or but often what I'll do is I'll put it up on the side, and then I'll leave it just long enough to have forgotten about it, and then I come back in. And as soon as, sometimes it might be overnight actually, sometimes, and often when I get to the end of a piece, I'll do that. I'll put it up, and it's that first glance, and then I know if it's finished or not. But I'll do the same during the painting. So if I'm not quite sure what to do with it, I'll just walk away. Just so, maybe go for a walk, make a cup of tea, have a bit of lunch, bite to eat, and then I'll come back in. And as soon as I've seen it, I'm like, okay, that's what it needs to do. Or I'll take a photograph of it, and I can see it differently through my phone on a photograph to how I can see it. I think you just get a bit close to it sometimes, so it's good just to take a step back.
And it helps to see it with fresh eyes.
Yeah, sure.
As you say, you kind of get too involved with it.
Mm-hmm.
You're sort of in the artwork rather than standing back as the viewer.
Yes, exactly.
Have you ever left an artwork unfinished?
Oh, loads of times. Yes.
Okay, give us an example.
Oh, lots of. Oh, I've got, well, moving house and studio. I've got a box full of them up there, and it's just part of my process as well. Sometimes I'll leave them for weeks or months, and then I come back and I know what needs doing to them. But it's almost like they have this period of their own, and they come to life when they're ready to.
I call that incubation time.
Absolutely. It's a very good term for it. But I think we're kind of so, I don't know, we're just so conditioned. Like, you start something, you do, done, finished, next one, do. And for me, my art just doesn't work like that when I've tried to do it. And I might have painted a picture and it came out so easily, and oh, that's really good. That's a winning thing there. Let's do that. And the next time I try and do it in the same way, it just doesn't happen. So I just find that I have to kind of leave them when they're ready. And I get a feeling, I just know, and it's okay, put that away for a while, I'll come back to it. And then, but I also something like my browser tabs on my computer, I've always got 60 million things on that go all at the same time, but that's just the way my brain works. And it's a bit the same with my artwork. I like having a lot on at the same time. And if that means that one sits on the side for 3 months while I'm working on another 2, then that's fine with me. So
that's absolutely brilliant. Is there any piece that you have abandoned, repainted, etc., once you thought you are in the middle of it, or just decided
I've
no?
definitely repainted a few. Yeah, yeah, I have abandoned some. Yeah, sometimes I think it's good to go through and actually have a complete review and you know, yeah, have a bit of a declutter, I suppose, because there are, and there, but I do find it quite hard to let them go because I always find there's a little piece for something that I don't know what it is, but there's just something in it that I know that is going to be a reference point for something else. So I do
Yeah.
have a lot of things that will, they'll probably never see the light of day. But for me, looking through visually, they just remind me of a moment in time or something. Yeah. So So I do. Yeah, I do occasionally, but I do find it quite hard to let go of them as well.
Yeah, I can understand that, especially when you see little bits and you go, I really like it. I don't like that bit, but that bit
Yeah.
there, I really love that.
Yeah. Definitely.
And you're saying your process varies. Now, Julie, have you ever been stumped for ideas?
Have I been stumped for ideas?
Hmm.
No, I've normally got more than enough ideas. It's normally the time and the space to get them all out, to be honest. Probably the other way. Although that said, when you do then have that time and you sit down and you've got the board in front of you, like, it's that blank canvas syndrome. It's like, now I don't know what to do. It's almost like deer in headlights and you're just like stuck. Like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. So a bit of both. I've got all the ideas, but then that's when I have to sort of go quiet, go within, and then the right one comes out. So
No,
works.
I know that you've needed to take a break, but you're not really taking a break because you're doing preparatory work, as it sounds like you do all the time. But have you ever felt that you've needed to take a break from your artwork?
No, well, I only really started in 2011, so I've come to it quite late, having corporate life, and art was a bit like many people. You paint, draw a lot as a child and teenager, and then more proper jobs come along. So I hadn't really done it for ages. So I feel a bit like I've been making up for lost time in terms of painting and creating. So I haven't felt that I've needed a break from my art in that respect. Maybe certain styles, or it might be that I've moved to a different medium, or I might just literally all I can manage at the time is sketching in my book, but or even doodling on an envelope or something. But yeah, it's always there. It might not be kind of as visual outwardly, I might not be sharing it outwardly, but for me within my own life, could just be doodling in my diary, but there's always some doodle going on somewhere. But yeah, I guess it depends in which term you mean it, if you're meaning, but there have been times we went through a house renovation. We've rented a house now, we've moved, and during that time you physically can't, just space wise, it does hit you sometimes. So I needed to take a break from that because I was trying to do it all, but I was just getting frazzled. So I think sometimes there are life happenings that happens, and
Exactly. And we're not superhuman.
Exactly. But I haven't felt the need that I've had to stop my art because I can't cope with making art anymore. It's always there. It's just maybe in different forms.
And the circumstances might physically prevent you from doing it, like when you were doing the house renovation, there were times
Life happens sometimes. You go through those seasons.
Yeah. Now, when you're creating a work, what is the most difficult aspect about creating for you?
Controlling hot molten wax and making it do what you want to do. It's like trying to catch quicksilver. Trying to get it where you want it is probably my most. Sometimes it's lovely, you just kind of let it do its own thing, but sometimes when you're doing a portrait or something and you really want it to be going, and it's just because you have to fuse each layer with a heat gun, so you paint, say, the eye on, or the whatever feature, and then you have to blast it with a hot air, but the slightest bit over it's and your beautiful eye has suddenly gone, so that's probably the most frustrating and difficult thing that I find. But
So you find controlling the medium can be the most difficult.
Yeah, but I say difficult, but equally it's a challenge. And when you do get it right, it's like, yes, nailed it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So it is more of a challenge to you rather than a difficulty.
Yeah.
And what is the most pleasurable aspect about creating artwork for you?
Controlling that hot fluid wax.
When it works, yes.
It's just, it's the most love-hate thing ever. I love it. It's just so delicious and brilliant to work with, but it can be frustrating, but equally that's part of the challenge and the enjoyment of working with that medium for me. Yeah.
Looking back over your work, what's your most favorite piece?
Probably talking of portraits, probably a piece that I did on a workshop up in London with an encaustic artist, Laura Murphy. It was a piece called Nia, and I loved it. It was the first portrait I did that I absolutely loved, and it was like, I'd been working in an abstract way with wax for quite some time, and that was like the first piece that I'd done. And so probably if I had to, they're all like my babies though, it's really hard to single one piece out, but if I had to choose one, then that would probably, just because it was that first portrait that I did that I really felt that it really gave me a big understanding of how to work with the medium. Actually, it's good.
Fantastic. When in your life, what age were you when you first created an artwork?
Oh, well, I don't know how old it would have been. Tiny, toddler. I mean, my parents have got a farm, so they used to be milking cows, and I would sit in the milking shed drawing pictures of pussycats all the time. So, I think there was a phrase that Julie just sits around painting pussycats all day, because that's just what I love doing. And I wasn't happy to give them up until I'd mastered how to draw a pussycat in the way that I was happy with. So I don't know what age I would have been. I mean, well, from when I could first start drawing and holding a pencil, I think I just always loved drawing.
Which is lovely. And it sounds as if you were persistent to get exactly what you wanted to achieve, which is wonderful at a very young age.
I think it was just back of envelope, but I always say as well, going back to the back, drawing the back of an envelope, just anything to kind of, it's the same thing. I don't think you always need massive supplies and things. It's just, it was what I enjoyed doing, and it was an easy one because it was sit down and get a biro, and I was happy. Quiet as a mouse.
Quiet as a mouse, and your parents were happy.
Absolutely.
Being gone with some work now. Okay. So when was it that you decided to become an artist and be an artist?
I would say that was in 2012. So I didn't start really painting and drawing until 2011. And I went to an untutored art group, and I was doing pencil and pastel and watercolor, and I got into acrylic, and it was like all the things. I was super excited. And it was just like a couple of hours once a week, and I just loved it. And then off the cuff, I'd drawn a couple of paintings actually of our local beach here down at Crackington Haven in Cornwall. And off the cuff, I just put them into a competition that I saw on Twitter at Tate Modern. And we were going on holiday, and I don't know even why I did it. I just saw it and I just went bang, bang. They were on my phone, and I just sent them off. And while we were away, we were going to Spain that night. And while we were away, I heard that I'd won.
Wow!
I'd been selected. Right, one. Yeah. I'd been selected. It wasn't. There were 80 of us that were selected to work in this project. So it was the worst timing because it's the night we came back. I think we landed at about 2:00 in the morning, and I had to be in London by 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. So it was like. Plus, I had to find all my supplies and everything that I would need to take. So, but I did it, and it was amazing. So we were up in we just had a day up at Tate Modern. We were in the staff rooms. It was all being filmed. It was an amazing project to be a part of. And I always felt that artists were on this pedestal up here, and you could never do it. And I've gone up there, and they were just all really lovely, normal, beautiful human beings who were just so friendly and supportive. And I was just like, it was just timing. It just felt like the right thing to do. So I think that gave me the confidence to think, yeah, I'm going to do something with this. So yeah, that was definitely a key moment in the whole process.
And when did you actually own the fact that you were an artist?
It's taken a bit of time, I think. Yeah. Definitely in the latter years, for sure. I don't know. I think I launched myself into it all with such enthusiasm at the start, but I don't know if I called myself an artist back then. I was just showing people what I was doing, and I was just happy sharing and the techniques and what I was doing and opening my studio. But I can't remember really when I started calling myself an artist. But it is a funny term. It's quite a loaded thing. I think maybe people don't realise that from an outward perspective, but I think when you are an artist, it is quite a big thing to own that and say, yes, yeah, I'm an artist. It's I think to be an accountant is a far easier term to, oh yes, that's very good, oh, you're an artist. Oh, I think there's a bit of a funny thing with it. So yeah, but no, definitely I would say within the last 4 years, maybe 5 years, possibly. Yeah, I don't know, I forget. Time is just such a funny thing. I forget, years.
And you don't remember what the transition was from?
I think it was a bit of a natural evolution, really. I just think becoming more confident in what you do as well. Yeah, and I think it was probably actually when I started putting my prices up again, and it was like, yeah, actually, no, this is more. And you kind of step into it rather than a bit of a hobbyist doing some stuff on the side. It's it was, yeah, that was really when it was, yeah, probably that key thing. But I think it was a bit of an evolution as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. You mentioned that you started your art again in 2011.
yes.
So what happened from when you were a child to 2011?
Well, I think teenage years, you are, well, suddenly like you have exams and then you have to go and get a job. Well, I did a lot of traveling as well, actually. So I did a couple of summers working in Greece, and then I did a year backpacking. So never really had like painting supplies, art supplies with me as such. I might doodle again. And then I came back and got, I was working. So, I think it's just working life, really. And then when I went to Hertfordshire, I got a really good job, and that was very sort of corporate career wise, but loved it. It's all very, there's a lot of creativity in that role, actually, but it just wasn't actual painting and drawing. But I think it was after having the children, really, and you suddenly get into, and I think the work on its own is great, and you've got plenty of free time, and you're having lots of fun, and it's all good. And then we had 2 children, and I was running my husband's office as well, and I think just got to the point where, you're working, you've got the children, that it's a lot. Kids don't come with a manual, do they? It's a lot to deal with, and suddenly you find that you've got no free time for yourself. And I was just frazzled, and that's when I found this art group, and it was such a change for me. It's life-changing, really. It really was kind of just, I found myself again through that group, and it was, yeah, I think you can just get into this kind of dizzy, fast-paced, on the hamster wheel, and just cannot get off, and yeah, my art just helped me to do that. So it was definitely it's the right thing for me at the right time.
Wonderful. Now, anything you want the viewers to know about you and your work? You mentioned that a lot of people don't know about encaustic art painting. Perhaps this is one thing that you can explain to people now.
So, well, encaustic art is, as well, in the simplest form, is painting with hot molten wax. That you can, and I always say it's as limitless as your imagination. And it's really versatile as well. So there are, a complete beginner could start working. There are almost 2 ranges of wax. So there's like a low heat range. So that's really great introduction for beginners, teenagers, or just anybody that just wants to get a bit creative. And also for people who always say, oh, I can't draw a straight line, I could never be creative. It's perfect for them because you can just get these amazing effects really simply. You don't need to know what you're doing. And it's but it's just so therapeutic to do. It's beautiful. And then there's another style which is a higher heat. It's a bit more involved in terms of equipment and health and safety, but stunning. And that's where you layer layers of wax one on another, and you can incorporate all sorts of mixed media with it, and other art, powder pigments, oil paints, just all sorts of things. So I always say it's really, there's something within encaustic art for all levels, all abilities, and depending on where you want to come from really, you can literally start as simply with some encaustic paper and an iron and just spreading. It just literally just sort of glides across your iron and your paper, and it's just, if you're kind of quite tactile, just the sense of spreading it is just delicious. But through to you can use a blowtorch if you're really quite love a challenge. You can get out your blowtorch and you could be setting fire to it. But that's when I first discovered the higher heat waxes. I've been using the lower heat waxes for probably 2 years, I think. And there's stylists, and there's lots of different ways you can use that style. But then I saw somebody on YouTube and she literally just set fire to her painting, and I'm like, learn how to do that. And it was like the next step up. So and that was when I set about learning the wax and daymar, like the higher heat wax products, and you build that up on a wooden board, so that's a much different process, but still encaustic. It's still hot wax painting, and just beautiful. But it's really versatile medium.
You should say it's very versatile. I love the fact that you can set fire to it, and I would really, please send me that link. I would really like to see that.
I must do more of that. I've just been a bit cautious on that front with when you're renting studios or working in someone else's space, you want to kind of make sure that you're setting fire to things in a safe manner.
Absolutely, get the safety aspects.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I interrupted your flow because I was too engrossed with setting fire to your painting.
It's lovely, honestly. It's the most amazing medium. I mean, obviously the wax doesn't set, you add a shellac to the surface of the wax and then that sets fire, but it just interacts with the wax underneath. It's just creates these really beautiful organic kind of textures. And
it sounds wonderful. Yes, I need to know. I need to know more. I need a desire to know. Is there anything else, Julie, that you would like the viewers to know about you and your artwork?
Oh, well, no, just I don't know. I've just found it so life-changing, and for me personally, if I can share that with more people, so if people are interested to just kind of follow along and check out my site and things, but if I can help other people kind of go through a little bit of the journey that I've been through, and it just really is the most beautiful thing. And it's just not just me with my journey. I've seen so many people. This has happened with so many people time after time. I've run workshops, done demos, talks, all sorts of things over the years. Well, 10 years I've been working with it now. But just time and time again, I've just seen the transformation within people when they give themselves that time to sit down. And I don't think it's the same with many art forms, but for me personally, there is just something extra. There's an extra dimension with that encaustic painting, and it just is, so if I can help anybody with that, then please do just reach out. I'll be really happy to point them to any resources or help them, or got a range of options. So
okay, so how do people get in touch with you?
Best place is probably through my website, artyheaven.com.
If you could give me the link, please, and I'll pop it up.
I can do that. Yeah, no problem. And I've got social medias and things, but the website's probably the key place to kind of go back to, and the YouTube channel is really good because there's a lot of video on there. So
again,
but that's all. They're all linked up on my website. So
excellent. Well, thank you so much, Julie. That was so enlightening about your work. I was fascinated by your whole process. So that's Julie Rothel. And from yours truly, Mac McGregor.
Thank you so much. I've forgotten something.
I know I have. I forget. I usually forget about me. Okay, so this month, as everybody knows, I am Artist of the Month of Bloom's Art House, which Julie is also a member of, but I'm also running Akashic Record Group Healing, and this month it's on creativity and change. And so these interviews are so appropriate for exploring that from an artistic point of view, but I'm also doing other workshops with people who are not, or they may be artists, but they also do something else with their creativity in their life and how change has affected them. I will post the details of that, where you can find, or if you want a free copy of an introduction into the Akashic Records. And if you want to join the group or find out anything about my other offers that I do have on a one-to-one basis. Now, the Akashic Records, for those who don't know, is in the astral plane, which is like a sandwich, the contents of a sandwich that are sandwiched between your bottom slice of bread, which is us on the earth plane, and the spiritual realm, which is in the ether. And we just kind of meet them in this bridge called the astral plane. And in there, time and space is always now, as it is here on earth. And we can access our past, present, and future lives. So we can find out if we have an issue that keeps reoccurring, if we have a difficulty, we want to change, but have tried several ways and just come up against a brick wall. We want to change, but we don't know how. There might be something in your past life, this life, or in previous lives, that might be affecting you now. And the Akashic Records is a way to make inquiries, to understand, to heal, and then incorporate that understanding and healing into your life now, to give you an opportunity and more choices to change. Is there anything that you would like to know, Julie, that I have briefly explained about the Akashic Records?
No, I've heard of the Akashic Records, but it's all quite new to me. So I'm fascinated to discover more, and I'm always open to learning new things. And yeah, I found being part of the Blooms quite interesting. So I'm being introduced to all these different modalities, and completely open to that. So
okay, well, if you want a free introduction to the Akashic Records PDF, then do let me know.
I will do indeed, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you everybody again. And I remembered this time. Okay, thanks
Lovely.
again, Julie.
Thank you, Mac. That was great. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.